transmission of the Daily Fix. I'm your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tulo Hoyane. Today, I would just like to make an apology. One of the reasons which prompted me to do this live is because I kept on saying that the Senzo Meyua trial had been postponed to the 14th of to the 19th of May. The case has actually been postponed to the 5th of May. I think that was just a slip up there. So please bear with me for that slip up. The actual date, I did not intend to mislead anybody. The actual date for the trial is the 5th of May. So we have seen, I was in the Pretoria High Court, by the way, this morning. And we saw how the case got postponed with Baloyi not having any objection to the postponement. Like he did not have any objection with the previous postponement. And Judge Rata was also rather sympathetic towards Mnisi this time because he told him about the case that he had read, I think only about a week ago. So he said that that case just indicates it's a case decided by the Supreme Court of Appeal. That case decides the issue that, cross-examination is very, very crucial in any trial. Before anybody can be found guilty, there should have been cross-examination of the people making allegations against that person. In that particular example, he was talking about two men who had been who eventually were sentenced to life imprisonment for rape. It would appear that from that case, the victim was so traumatized by it all that so much so that she ended up absconding and, just virtually disappearing out of sight, and an agreement was reached between the defense and the prosecution that they could forego the cross-examination of that particular complainant in the rape matter. When the matter then went on appeal to the Supreme Court of Appeal, those three alleged rapists walked free because the Supreme Court of Appeal indicated that it was a gross irregularity, that the alleged rapists had been convicted on the strength of the evidence of the complainant and that although the complainant had not been cross-examined, so cross-examination plays a very, very crucial role in criminal proceedings, also in civil proceedings, because it is through cross-examination that, the version put forward by one side has to be challenged by the other side. Just to test its veracity, test its truthfulness. So the other side will, go on to discredit the version that has been put forward. Let me give a practical example. All that CB Colonel Gininda, I understand he's a colonel now. All that Colonel Gininda has been saying, he has to be cross-examined on all those allegations. For instance, if you look at the confessions that he testified about, he has to be cross-examined on that. There needs to be cross-examination because we cannot just have, Gininda's own side of the story. That side of the story that Gininda has put forward before the court should be challenged. In other words, the circumstances leading up to the taking of those confessions. And at the end of the day, the court has got to make a determination, fully informed, as to the truthfulness of whether these people actually did make confessions, or whether to go with the version of the accused person that they never made any confessions. And that alternatively, if they did make confessions, they probably did so under duress. So that is just how important cross-examination is. So Mnisi, in the sense of Meiwa trial, has to conduct that cross-examination. If he does not conduct that cross-examination, it means all the evidence that Gininda has tendered before that court will stand as it is unchallenged. So there needs to be a challenge coming from the defense, because you see, the business of a defense lawyer is to defend an accused person. So that, let me just turn the screen like this and see if there's something going on here. I'm just trying to get things going. So that is the importance of cross-examination. So Gininda's got to be cross-examined, and it is very crucial that Mnisi must read that record, and come back to court prepared. I know a lot of people are rather disappointed, that the case is not proceeding. And, well, we all want to see the case proceed. But I suppose the most important thing here is Moses Ibia must get a proper defense. And if his legal representative feels that, to give him that proper defense, he needs time to look into the record and prepare all the relevant questions that he's going to put up to Gininda and all the other, to Gininda especially, because it is Gininda who's going to get cross-examined. I think it is very important that we should give Advocate Mnisi that chance, because by so doing, we will also be ensuring that, Moses Ibia gets a fair trial. So our disappointment must be seen within that context, or we must be disappointed within that context, so that we can appreciate why perhaps Advocate Mnisi needs some more time to try and prepare for this defense. The CD Anamohat was just coming to say, good evening, sir, and all viewers. Good evening, CD. How are you out there? I don't know where you are, but thank you for coming in and making it happen. We are live on the Daily Fix is live, and we are looking at the latest developments today in the Senzo Meiwa trial, which we all know has been postponed to the 5th of May. So get on board. There are about 19 of us now who are watching this live broadcast. Get on board, put those comments there. Let us discuss. What do you think about Munisi's state of readiness? You think that Munisi ought to be replaced? Or do you think Munisi must be given as much time as he will require so that he can get the defense going? What do you think? Let me know. Soft Angler has just come in also to say good evening, CD, and to our advocate. Thank you very much, Soft Angler. Pleased to be with you here, and CD, and I'm happy he's back again and says, I'm in East Africa, and thank you for the updates in Tate. My light is in, or that just breaks off there. East Africa, where are you in East Africa? Barigani mzuri sana. Habari bwana. That is Swahili. So thank you for joining us from East Africa, CD. So let us look at those issues in and around the Central trial. I've always come up with a lot of videos indicating that there are not many things which are right in that trial. I've raised some of these issues, raised any of those issues, and I'll try and address them to the best of my ability. Kolela Bonani says, "Good evening, Tata." From Port Elizabeth, good evening, good evening, good evening, Kolela. I am fine. I hope everybody is fine. So this is the position that we have, and an interactive session like this one is very important because we get to sort of talk face to face. Because one of these days I'll be inviting studio guests to join me here. But as of now, what I'll do is I'll read your comments and then respond to your comments. 21 of us are in now. See, and I'm happy again says I'm of the opinion that advocate meetings should be given a chance to ready himself. Yes, CD, this is just exactly what I'm saying. Much as we might be disappointed that there are these delays which are coming up, the most important consideration that we must bear in mind is that Muzisi has got to get a proper defense. And if this lawyer says, I am not ready to cross-examine, how then do we push Munisi? Jokingly, of course. How then do we push Munisi to get into that courtroom and pretend to, represent or defend Muzisi when he's unprepared? I mean, it wouldn't make sense. So much as one or two people might be disappointed with the postponement, I think in the light of the fact that the real motive here is to get justice for Senzwe, for justice for Muzisi, we must have a little patience. We need to exercise a little patience. Israel Moabel also comes in to say, I support him 100%. Yes, Israel. I think you're talking about Advocate Mnisi. Yes, Mnisi needs our support. You see, we must not start saying disparaging things about Mnisi because Mnisi is trying to do his best. So, and I'm happy says what? Just coming, she says, she says, I mean, she's in Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Yes, Uganda used to be the Pearl of Africa, I remember. During the days of, Milton Obote and that unfortunate character called Idi Amin. Anyway, let us move on. Kole Labona and he says, I'm happy today's court proceedings advocate Mnisi is a lion. Yes, Mnisi is a lion. That is what Kolela says. Thank you, Kolela, for that compliment. Sidi comes back again to say, I'm on holiday, flying back tomorrow on that day. We need justice for the Meyuas and the accused. Yes, Sidi, we need justice. Some of us are committed to that cause of justice. I've always said I'm committed to the cause of justice. Let me just tell you an example of what, I wanted to do something for the Meyua family. That's how I started the Daily Fix. And I wanted to connect with as many people as possible. And I did not have a forum on it to connect with people because, the mainstream media will not take some of the stories that we have. And so I just said to myself, let me establish a forum where I'll be free to say whatever I want to say. So we need justice for the Meyuas and the accused. Sylvester Mhlakuva says, what's your assessment of the judge's conduct in this trial? Because you have been in a legal profession for a very long time. Is this how judges carry themselves in our cause? No, not at all. I've been around here since 1988. This is quite unprecedented. Most judges, conduct themselves with a lot of dignity. I've seen a lot of disturbing things about Judge Ratam Khatling. And I wonder why we should have seen things like that. But judges don't kill themselves like that. You see, judges respect themselves. And you see, respect is earned. If you don't respect yourself, you are not likely to earn any respect yourself. So, by and large, our judges behave a manner, in which they are supposed to behave. So when we saw some of the things that were happening in the Sonzwe trial, it was a bit disturbing because, strictly speaking, that is not how a judge should, conduct himself. Remember that unfortunate statement that he made just a day before Mgo died. That Mgo had been seen in and around the Pretoria High Court, and that some informant or source had told him all that. That was neither here nor there, with all due respect to Judge Mkhotleng. That information was just a thumbsuck, it was just not true. Who was that informant, for instance? And those are very bad remarks to be making about, a man who was battling with his, for his life, because Mgo died the following day. So Pengla says Mbegezel is happy about Rata's demeanor. Well, for today, we could say he wasn't his usual self. Utsi Lethomelan says, "Good evening, advocate. I'm just like to listen to you based on today's decision on the judge and advocate in his decision. But but today I saw that he seems strong on what he believes in and what he brought." Yes, I think if you're talking about the judge, yes, the judge had said this, brought that, he had just read that case about a week ago. I don't know why I should have read it a week ago. That judgment has been in existence for quite a long time. I personally have been aware of that judgment for years. But anyway, without taking anything from Judge Ratam Khatting, he said, he relied on that case to grant the postponement, which I think was the right thing to do under the circumstances. Ditiko Motlogela is also coming to say, "Good evening, advocate. That's your take on Jocelyn's trial so far." Well, the Jocelyn Smith trial so far, I think there's a lot of twists and turns in that one also. There are a lot of unbelievable things which are happening there. But let me not so much get into the Jocelyn Smith trial, because I really wanted to dedicate this to the Mayua trial and what transpired today. So let's keep that and say leave it for another day. Sylvester Mhlakuva says, "So is that the case? What recourse do the accused or the defense have against judges who conduct themselves in such an unprofessional manner?" Yes, if judges conduct themselves in an unprofessional manner, you can always make something called a note, something which is a special entry. And you can also, you have various, recourses, a special entry. You can have the trial declared and mistrial and so on. Now there's Levi Messiah. These are some of the people that I always tell you about, who are, so abusive, and, they have the guts. I don't even think that is his name. That Levi Messiah thing, I don't think that is his name. He says, "Ndadetulo, unamanga wena, haibu." I mean, keep it yourself. Yeah. Keep it yourself. Keep Levi Messiah. Why don't you just switch off, and instead of, indulging in those kind of things which, I won't stoop that low and start addressing those things. I've got better things to discuss now. Israel Mloto, what? CD, and I'm happy. Unfortunate character called Idi Amin. Yeah, there was that Idi Amin, unfortunate character who blighted. Uganda is the pearl of Africa and was the pearl of Africa, but under Amin, it became something else. But the Amin era came and went. Hot dog says, hello advocate, hello hot dog. Sylvester Mhlakuva is back again and says, in the event that the accused balahleli licala, what are their prospects at the SCA? The prospects are very good at the SCA. The prospects on appeal, they are excellent. Given the number of irregularities that we have seen in this trial, the prospects of overturning any decision that can be made by this court without preempting what the outcome will be are very good. So once the trial is over, the next destination, in the event that they are convicted, of course, the next stop will be the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein. Israel Moabelo is back again and says, advocate, this is a march or demonstration to Ratas because things still going on. Yes, we had to postpone that march because, there have been these postponements, and so, I thought the trial would be proceeding. You see, it dampens people's spirits if you are going to be there and, the case is getting postponed. I thought it was going to get on, and, we need to hype this thing up so that we get maximum publicity. But I'm still intending to do that, and to engage in all other, activities which will publicize the Senzo Meyiwa cause. I'm also in touch with the SABC, one of the journalists from the SABC, and I would like to conduct an interview, a very, extensive interview about the Senzo Meyiwa trial and some of the things which I've always been raising on the daily fix. So Israel, yes, that is still in the pipeline. We cannot, abandon something of that importance. So we saw the postponement today, and a lot of the people that I saw around the Pretoria High Court, I don't know whether people were expecting something dramatic to happen. Israel Moabelo says that the T-shirts ready. No, nobody was interested. Nobody was interested in the T-shirt project. I only got about 1 or 2 orders, and I had to refund people their money. So it never really got off the ground, and I lost a lot of money because I had placed orders, hoping that at least I would get, and I'm happy to say since 1988, almost 50 years of experience in the legal fraternity. No, it's not, it's 37 years. 37 years. 37 years. I've got another 13 to 50. Maybe that will be way into the 30s, the 2030s. Uzi the Tomelang is back again. No advocate. What I was meaning on my previous comment, I was talking about how Advocate Minisi seems prepared to whatever he was bringing today in court, and it's like the judge realizes that too. I was talking about how Advocate Minisi seems prepared to do whatever he was bringing. Yes, Advocate Minisi was prepared to tell the judge that no, he's not in a position to proceed. And the judge could realize that, Minisi was not budging from that, because how do you budge from a position like that? If you are not prepared to conduct a defense, look at it practically. Well, how do you start asking Gininda if you have not read the record? Because it is out of the reading of that record and that you can be able to formulate the right cross-examination questions. So if you're not familiar with the record, like Minisi is not familiar with some parts of the record such that he cannot cross-examine, I don't think it would serve anybody's purpose, including Minisi himself, for him to stand there and ask irrelevant questions. I'm sure you've seen how in the Omotoso matter, the prosecution failed to cross-examine Omotoso, and the judge was very angry about that. So that when Omotoso turn came to testify, Omotoso just denied all the allegations, of sexual abuse that had been made against him. So the failure of the prosecution in that case led to Omotoso's freedom. So I think this is doing the right thing by I think he's doing the right thing by getting his house in order, so to speak, so that he can conduct a proper cross-examination. And you see, as advocates and attorneys, you have an obligation to our clients to give your very best. You see, legal advice is not just about going through the motions and just going through the motions of looking like you are defending someone. You have to do it with passion and dedication. Your conscience will drive in the right direction, but you also have a professional obligation to do a professional job. Yes, let us see some of these comments. The comments have stopped coming now, and but that does not mean that the transmission is coming to an end, because there are many other issues. There are two dockets in this case. I've never seen in all those years from way back in 1988. I've never come across a situation where, in one murder investigation, two dockets are opened for whatever reason. Let us even forget about the reasons. Because how then do you identify who the culprit is? If you start, and theoretically, if you can open one docket, then it means you can open 3 dockets, 4 dockets. Where does it all end up? Sidiana Mahap is back again. Levi Messiah, you seem to like a manga. When Zanella, Sidi is replying to Levi Messiah, who says, I'm a liar, Some of them don't even have the gumption to say a man older than their parents, like me, is a liar. But it comes to the territory. Every child's behavior is a reflection of the upbringing that he got in his or her family. So some people will just, insult you like Levi Messiah seems to be in the habit of doing. But I don't stoop that low. I've got no time for things like that. I've got better fish to fry, so to speak. So I was saying that I've never seen a situation where 2 dockets. What do you think about the 2 dockets? Let's talk about the 2 dockets. How do you open 2 dockets? How do you have 2 sets of police officers pursuing 2 different leads? You see, one set of policemen says, there were intruders into that house. What we are seeing happening in the Pretoria High Court now. And opens up a docket 636. Another set of police officers comes along, operating. These 2 sets of police officers are operating out of the same Phosphorus police station. Another set of policemen comes up and opens up docket 375, and they say, no, nonsense. There's no such thing as there have been intruders here. Ozzy says, totally nonsense, my advocate. I don't know what that is supposed to mean. I don't know whether she's saying I'm talking nonsense, or I don't know what nonsense that is being referred to. I hope I'm not being referred to as the person talking nonsense there by Ozzy, is it? Nhlanhlan Tuli says, thanks for opening our eye in terms of law is concerned. Thank you, Nhlanhla. Yes, I'll always do my best, And one of the things that I do as a hobby is to provide free legal advice to South Africans. In my spare time, there's not much that I do because I have to be responding to people who have got problems about inheritances, estate disputes, spousal abuses. Some of them require protection orders and all sorts of advice. So I always find time for myself to say and I don't know these people and I'll never know them. And I don't do it because I'm going to know them. But to help people and, doing charity work for me is so satisfying. This is why I'm willing to help in the sense of may your trial without not seeking a cent. I've always said, for me, life is not about money. I grew up an ordinary boy in Sharpeville in Kasi. All of you know what Kasi life is all about. I was not poor, I was not rich. Managed to be an advocate. I've got 3 children. One of them is a doctor, the other is an engineer, the other one is a teacher. So life is not about money, it's about principles. Let me get back to the comments again. Not you, my advocate. Oh, Ozzy says, no, not you, my advocate. Talking about the dog. I'm sorry for not being clear. Okay, that's understood, Ozzy. But Dana Mahlaba says, advocate, you are one of the video you said if you can be given a chance to represent the accused one, you'll only need 2 days to read 40,000 records. So can you say that Munisi is playing hide and seek? No, Munisi is not playing hide and seek. You see, I can read that 40,000. I think it's a question of experience. You see, if you are going to read a record, you're not going to read 40,000, 50,000 pages and put them into your head. You break it down, right? You break it down, say, into sections, right? Into about 8 sections of 5,000 words. Let us say the record is 40,000 pages long. You break it up into 8 sections of 5,000 words, right? And then you deal on a particular on a day-to-day basis. You deal on aspects or on particular aspects. You don't have to. You're not going to deal with that record all in one day. So, for instance, you'll set aside. You'll read 5,000. 5,000 pages, and then go on for a week or 2 on the 5,000 pages, right? So it takes experience also to be able to read, court records, because when you go through a court record, sometimes you don't even read it word for word. You pick up key words and key phrases. Immediately you see where the trend goes. And Munisi has always been there ever since the trial started. He knows the evidence, that has been tendered against Muzisi B. It will not be for the first time, so that when he reads it, it will just be a question of him refreshing his mind about what transpired in court because he was there. But I can do it, yes. In a matter of days, I can do it and get the trial going. This is not boastful talk. I've said there is no need for an old man to come and boast, on a public platform like this one. I'm only doing this because I really just want to assist. Good evening, advocate. Tulo, not Tolo. Tulo, Thulo. And my surname is Hoyani. Okay, that's Pile also. Can you say happy birthday to my friend Liron Din Pile? Happy birthday, Liron Din Pile. Happy birthday from the advocate. Ozzy says, indeed, my advocate is about experience. Yes, about experience. Because can you imagine reading that? If you're going to, let us say you're reading something for the first time, that's to show you how ridiculous it can be. Let me say you're reading something, a book that is 50,000 pages long, or that contains 50,000 pages of information. It's not easy to store that all in your head in detail. You have got to break it up. Because you are not going to use it all at the same time. G play, can you sing? Yes, I can sing. I can sing. What do you want me to sing? But my voice is not very good. I've always had a bad voice for singing. But there was a song that a friend of mine used to love that they were singing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Leron. Yes, that's me singing. So let's move on. I've got some kind of cold here, I don't know what is it here. But it all comes with the territory. There's work to be done here. So I was saying that, it all comes with experience. I wonder what but they're fairly young. Let me not start talking about people's experiences because you can see that, my experiences written all over my wrinkled face. Those people that you see in the Pretoria High Court are fairly young. So it takes experience to do some of these things. Let us keep the conversation going. Because if you don't keep it going, on the daily fix, I'm just used to talking alone. I can make an analysis, a 15-minute analysis of my own without even getting any feedback from anybody. So don't turn this live transmission into one of my videos. I really want us to interact, to come to get to know each other. This is what I'm saying. In the next live transmission, I'll be inviting at least one of you just to join me here so that we can be fielding questions from you people. You're a good person, advocate for you. Am I a good person? I don't know. I think that is for others to judge me, but I'm a good person. I'm motivated by doing charity work and helping those less fortunate than me, and I also go to church. I do a lot of charity work outside. Outside legal work, so I really like to help those who are less fortunate than me. It makes me feel better, and that is, what I call happiness. That is what happiness is to me. So thank you for saying I'm a good person, Colin. I hope I get a better. I hope to get to be a better person than what I am now. What I need now is a good cup of coffee. I don't know, because you are not commenting. I'll stand up and go and make myself a cup of coffee. Then I'll talk as I make myself a cup of coffee. So I'm still here. We are talking about the Central Meyiwa trial. Stephen Lungisi Majola says, greetings, advocate. Hope you are doing well. Yes, Steve-O. I am doing well. I'm doing well. I'm just developing your cold. I'm doing well, but my spirits are very high. My spirits are very high. I exercise a lot. I run 5 to 8 kilometers every day. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do it. Tomorrow morning. With all this cold attacking me like it is attacking me now. But cold or no cold, the live broadcast goes on. So, thank you, Steve. I'm doing well, and I hope to do better. So the purpose is really just to, you know, you can ask anything, even matters outside the sense of me. You are child, even long as much all again says just joining in now. We are learning a lot from you, sir. Just joining in now, we are learning a lot from you, sir. God bless. Thank you very much, Steve. I really hope that this kind of interaction adds value people to people's lives. Because you see, like they say, two heads are better than one. I'm also learning a lot from you, from your comments, you know, I get to learn a lot of things. This is why I always focus on the positive comments. And I've always said that anybody who comes with an outright insult, yes, I'm not saying everybody, people must agree with me. No, 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 never just agree with me because for the sake of agreeing with me. No, you must differ with me, and I'll respect you for differing with me. But let us conduct with this respect. An insult does not add value to anybody's life. So let us do it with dignity, and because one eye is better than one. Just because I'm an advocate does, does not make me any better than any one of you. Tomorrow, any one of you can wake up an advocate. Greetings, advocate. It is my first say. So the new evidence from the NPA, you are now. Oh, Munisi, yes, Munisi said that there is some additional information. And he has got this information from Moses Bia, which he would like to request from the NPA, from Judge Balowi, the prosecutor, to be specific. I don't know what this information is. Because, in criminal trials, the prosecution is supposed to make full disclosure about the sort of case they have against the accused persons. Now, this information that Advocate Munisi wants, I don't know why. It must have been, definitely it was withheld by the NPA or by Balowi. But I have no idea what that information relates to. Perhaps once he has got it, Advocate Munisi will then let us know what that information is. Because it is that information, he says, which is, making it difficult for him to proceed and cross-examine. So let us wait and see what that information is. Emmanuel Nyembe says, get well soon from the flu bug, advocate. Oh, this flu bug will not put me down. I'm already on some medication, it will not put me down. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Nkangeli says, God bless you, advocate. Rest and enjoy your pension and keep yourself busy with channel. You are doing great. God bless you. No, I'm not the type of person who's going to want pension. Never. Yes, I'm in my 60s now, but I have no desire to retire. You retire, you expire. That is my motto. If you retire, you expire. Look at people in government. The state president himself was born in 1952. Why should people like that still be in their jobs? And some of us who are far younger than them, sitting at home calling us old men. This is why I exercise every morning and keep as fit as possible. I've got a long way to go. I'm not stopping. I've got what is this? 2025. I've got at least about 15 years. 15 years to go. After 15 years, maybe I'll slow down. I won't retire. I'll slow down. Well, the channel keeps me busy. It's a nice hobby of mine. Who could ever imagine that an old Matala advocate like me, could start a YouTube channel in your 60s? started this thing. I first thought of it in 2021 and then I just abandoned it. So I started it proper late last year. It's been going now for 6 months only. But can you believe it? This is why I'm encouraging you young people to come up with YouTube channels. You know, can you believe it? It's got 1.1 million views in 6 months. In 6 months, it is going for 9,000 subscribers. On a weekly basis, something like not less than 15,000 people listen to me. 15 to 25,000 people. So it is quite a challenge, but you got to be, you got to be consistent and produce something every day. One of these days, I'll tell you the story of the daily fix, but let us leave that topic for another day. But I sincerely want to encourage you young people to look into the possibility of coming up with your YouTube channels. It can really give you a handsome income, very handsome. So let us get back to the sense of Mayuwa trial and stop talking about the daily fix. Its temptation is to talk about oneself. We must look beyond ourselves. So one of the third things that has, kept me so close to this Mayuwa trial is I remember the sad face of Senzo's father. Senzo's father died, a frustrated man. An ordinary man from KZN. Now, lawyers like us come with all these fancy arguments. Can you imagine how painful it is for the Mayuwa family? Sometimes we forget that there are people involved here. If say one of your siblings or your relatives had passed away, and there was all this controversy, can you imagine the mental trauma, the mental hurt that it causes? Because in a murder, most murders proceed this way. There will be a murder and a murderer. The murderer is identified and thrown into jail. End of story. Now, in this Mayuwa trial, the same thing is that we have got narrative after narrative. There are so many irregularities which have occurred here. I really sympathize with that family. Because it is not simple to navigate your way through all these narratives. And when you are personally involved, I think it becomes it becomes very, very difficult. But God willing, they will come out of this and we will do all we can to make sure that, they come out of this in one piece, so to speak. Let's get those comments going. Emmanuel was the last person to comment. Emmanuel Nyembe was very worried about the case. I don't think justice will take part here. I don't, Emmanuel. I don't. You see, my travel has always been with the two dockets. You see, I am in touch with people who are going to testify in the defense case, who are actually investigators, police investigators, who will tell you that the version that they were intruders into that house was simply fabricated. Now, here are people like, Brigadier Colonel Bongane Gininda saying, okay, they were intruders into that house. Now, how do you reconcile the two? Some people are saying there were no intruders into that house. Some are saying there were intruders into that house. So now, that the whole exercise now becomes, comparing the two versions to evaluate which one of the two is more likely to be true. You see how complicated this becomes. Because like I said, I've just said a short while ago, in a criminal trial, there will be a rapist and a victim. The rapist gets arrested by the police and is identified as rapist X. And rapist X appears before court and is sentenced to life imprisonment. The trajectory of the story runs like that. And that is the end of it. But in the sense of criminal trial, this is why we are. This is why we are in all this mess that we are in. 11 years later, 2 dockets. One of these days we'll have a 3rd docket. Kininda said this is an ongoing investigation, remember? In the middle of a trial, how do you know how police are supposed to operate? Police are supposed to undertake an investigation. And once that investigation is concluded, they are supposed to take that docket to the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. And the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions will then make a decision as to who to charge. Now, here are 5 people facing murder charges in the Pretoria High Court. And Gininda says, no, Kelly Kuman has not yet been arrested because this is an ongoing investigation. How do you carry on with a trial on the one hand and also have an open investigation going on? Does it make sense to anybody? And if this investigation has not been concluded now, 11 years after Senzo's death, will this investigation ever come to an end? Look at how the Senzo Meyiwa trial has been ill-fated. From the very beginning, remember that judge called Judge Shifua Maumela, who is facing disciplinary hearings. He allocated himself this case. It was never allocated to him by the judge president, his boss. Judge Shifua Maumela just pounced on this case and allocated to himself. For what reason, we do not know. Whether he had, what motivated him to do something so irregular, we don't know. So the trial went on and on with him. He was removed from the trial. We are starting again with Jadra Mokli. In the middle of it all, Advocate Ngomezulu dies. Now we are stuck with the replacement. And it is taking more and more time. How unfortunate the Meyiwas are. I have never seen this. And I hope never to see it again. But anyway, that is the way it is. You have to face the realities of this world. Are people still there? 53 minutes later, there's nobody. So if there's nobody, I wanted to chat with you. And the only way I can know you are responding is if I see some comments. You see, if I don't see any comments, it's like, I've got a small little puppy, which is in the habit of barking at the moon. Sometimes you just look at the moon in the evening and start barking at the moon. So I don't make me bark at the moon. We're still here, Advocate Emmanuel Nyambes. Back again says, oh, Emmanuel, thank you very much. So encouraging to hear that you are still here. Raymond says, I believe in the theory of the intruders, but what is lacking is the mastermind. If it was the theory, what is the best we can advise the defense counsel? How would you have wanted for him to approach that? Yeah, you see, the intruder theory lacks a mastermind that Gininda talks about. If that is Gininda's story, now where's this mastermind of that version? Right? Yeah. Yeah, if Gininda tells us that, he has brought these people, these are the people who killed Senzo, and then say, in the same vein has the guts to tell us that they have a mastermind, but the mastermind has never been arrested. Does it make sense? In my view, that's nonsensical. The justice system, Stephen, is really failing us. How does that court go ahead, right, with people who are ordinary foot soldiers, the trigger pullers? And that court is told that no, out there is a mastermind. The person who contracted these people hired them and paid them money at the Basutu hostel, but that mastermind is still working free. The Senzo Meyiwa trial is a movie. South Africa is a movie. Our legal system has been reduced to a circus. Right? It doesn't make sense, advocate, why the mastermind is not arrested. Yes, why tell us about the mastermind? I was surprised because the judge, even the defense counsels, this is why I'm calling this a mistrial. You don't have to be legally trained to understand that if we agree with Aginda, let us for one moment agree with Gininda and stop criticizing Gininda. He's now been promoted to a colonel. Let us respect Colonel Gininda. Colonel Gininda says, yes, these people are the right people. These are the people, if that is the essence of his evidence. They have a mastermind in the form of Chili Kumar. But that mastermind is not before God. What do we make of that? He says it was a prosecution-driven investigation. No, that's nonsensical. What prosecutor, if it was a prosecution-driven investigation, would leave out a mastermind and bring foot soldiers to court? That's simply nonsensical. That does not add up. And you see, that mastermind should have been disclosed at the beginning of the trial, not mid-trial, because those poor accused persons in the dock now for the first time hear from Gininda that, oh, by the way, we had a mastermind. We were supposed to have been bought, when we killed Senzo Meyiwa, by somebody called Kelikumaga. It is just shocking. It is just shocking. Well, I suppose some people above the law. Because anybody now can proceed to any police station in South Africa and open up a docket, a murder docket against Kelikumaga, on the strength of the evidence that Gininda has given that court. Mastermind, Sispet calls herself the real mastermind. I think I'd rather go for real masterminds like Patricia Marshall. This mastermind in the Senzo Meyiwa trial is above the law. That's the only conclusion that I can make. Somebody will not just arrest Kelikumaga. But we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll get to the bottom of it. It's very, very risky. It's very risky doing some of these things, I know. People have lost their lives. And I know of a guy called Solomon Mahlangu. Solomon Mahlangu was hanged in the Palace of Justice in Pretoria in 1980. We were in our early 20s. Solomon was hanged. So death is nimble, death is quick. It can come in various forms. Solomon died for the liberation of his country. If you die for a just cause, I suppose you die for a good reason. Daniel Tolele says Balo still introduces new evidence in this day and age. Yes, this is trial by ambush. You see, because if all the information, Daniel, is not divulged at the commencement of the trial, you see, it prejudices the defense case. That evidence should have been brought in at the beginning of the trial so that the accused persons can properly prepare for their defense, not piecemeal in the manner that Baloyi is doing, because Minister told that court that Baloyi is still holding on to some information, and he got this communication from Muzisi. Raymond is here with us. Your honest opinion, what do you think, in your honest opinion, how do you think will she, how will she have been added, and if so, at what stage of the trial? Should have been added, should have been accused number one at the beginning of the trial. Gininden Baloyi should have disclosed in their summary of substantial facts. There's something called a summary of substantial facts. At the commencement of criminal proceedings, the prosecution will outline each case in summary form in something called a summary of substantial facts. So the summary of substantial facts that they put before that court simply says there were intruders into the Khumalo house and who ended up robbing Kelly Khumalo of a cell phone and killing Senzo Meiwa. That is what their summary of facts says. Right? So Kelly Khumalo in the summary of facts is a victim. And a very direct victim, more than anybody else, because she had a cell phone dropped from her. But along the way, to surprise of everybody, and I saw Baloyi when Gininda came up with this, Baloyi was visibly worried. Along the way now, Kelly Khumalo mutates, just transforms from being a victim into a mastermind in the same trial. For God's sake, does it make sense? 1 minute you are a victim. The next minute you are behind it all. 1 minute you are such a you've been so victimized that you even had a cell phone robbed from you. Along the way, actually it is said that no, actually you are the person behind you are actually Senzo, you are the alleged murderer or killer of Senzo Meyiwa. Does it make sense? Sometimes I sit and ask myself these questions. I sit and ask myself these questions, whether this is real or whether I'm having a never-ending dream. But this is the reality of it. These are the sort of things that people like Colonel Gininda have told us. And they want us to go along with things like that. Notwithstanding how unbelievable those things can be. Daniel Solele says, I have been following this case. But up to today, accused number and 2 confessions, they don't make sense for me at all. Yeah, those confessions don't make sense at all. In any case, why would a person make a confession willingly, under no pressure at all, right? Without being under any undue pressure, without being tortured or anything like that? Why would that person then come and deny this confession before court? Just ask yourself that common sense question. What has changed between the time that they made the confessions and the time when they appear in court, such that they totally disown the confessions? Nothing. Those confessions are very questionable. Raymond says, if the state does not call Kelly as a witness, what do you think of the charges of robbery of a cell phone? No, they have the charge. One of the charges that these people are facing is of robbery of that cell phone. You see, but curiously again, Raymond, he brought another issue which is very interesting about this trial. One of the accounts that the people have been charged with is robbery. The robbery of that particular cell phone. But Kelly Kumalo has not been asked to come forward to testify as the person from whom the cell phone was robbed. So how are you going to establish that charge? They have forgotten, they forget these things. They say a lie is forgotten as soon as you make it. They have forgotten that Kelly Kumalo they call the victim because she had lost a cell phone in that robbery that also culminated in the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. But they don't call as a witness to go and testify about that robbery. Emmanuel Nyembe says, I hear you advocate. Why would they confess willingly and come again to deny? This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. At one stage, those confessions are inadmissible. At one stage, you are so free, you are taken before a magistrate and you confess that, oh, I Bongan in Tanzi, I killed Senzo Meyiwa. Let me just make it that simplistic. I killed Senzo. You just simply agree, you admit to the magistrate that I killed Senzo Meyiwa. You are then brought before court, and you deny that confession so vehemently. Now, if you look at all the other inconsistencies in the trial, I do not believe that those confessions were made voluntarily or willingly. Zanel Sitloyi says, is there a reason for Baloyi not to call the Kumalos? Yes, but what about Baloyi? Baloyi, I am sure Baloyi does not want to call Kelly Kumalo. Like Baloyi will never call Kelly Kumalo. Curiously enough. Right? Because can you imagine, Kelly Kumalo, how do you call Kelly Kumalo when now Gininda on the other side is saying, no, she's not a victim, she's a mastermind. You see this nonsense that she's talking about of having been robbed of a cell phone. This is just nonsensical because, in fact, he's a mastermind. So how could she have organized people to come and rob a cell phone from herself? Right? These are the twists and turns, right, that we are seeing unfold in this trial. The Boko says, keep exposing these rotten police, persecutors, and the judge through this case. I will not stop doing what I'm doing. I've got a lot of press, the Boko. Sometimes even my wife warns against it and says, but this is too dangerous. Don't you think this is dangerous? Work that you are doing, and life is about danger. I'm not leading this one. I think that was just Emmanuel Nyambe saying, may God protect you advocate, the points you're raising. I hope me. Thank you, Emmanuel. I hope that this gives people some kind of insight into the issues around the Senzo Meyiwa trial. And if what I'm doing helps in that regard, I am honored. Daniel says again, why are we flooded with police witnesses? To start with, yes. There are too many police witnesses, could have been cooked this thing in some police station. Raymond says that Vovo, thank you for calling me at Vovo. What do you think of the fact that the state is disclosing evidence almost every day? Is any case law? Yeah, that is prohibited. There are many very cases because if you keep on, you prejudice me because from the onset I must know what case is it that I've got to face in court. In its totality, you cannot bring it piecemeal because you're going to embellish things. It means that today you're going to listen to what I'm saying. And when I go in one direction, tomorrow you'll come up with some other piece of evidence to counter that. So that is unfair. Zanele says Gininda once says she was robbed of a Samsung phone and then changed to a heat organizer. This is why Gininda. 2 doggers each. Aye. That is what I'm saying, Zanele. 2 doggers. How do you have 2 doggers? And nobody is saying anything about this. Not the National Director of Public Prosecution, not even the Commissioner of Police, nobody. 2 doggers into one case. Nonsensical to say the least. Speedway says, hi, our beloved advocate, is there anywhere this charge can be stopped and then a commission of inquiry because it's too obvious that the India paid this charge? Yes, I think this judge must be removed. I've always said that if I step into that, the first thing that I'll do is to get a recusal application. And all these things that have happened, yes, they require a commission of inquiry. And at the end of it all, everybody who's found guilty must face the music. Mr. Schuberman says, good evening, advocate. How are you? I'm perfect. I'm just battling. I'm just battling this flu. Like you can see, I cough almost. I cough almost every 30 seconds. Luzuko says, advocate, please explain this thing of new evidence that is coming in when the case is in this stage. I'm worried. I want to see why. The question is, where does this evidence come from? And why was it being kept from the defense? Because like I've already indicated earlier on, all the evidence should have been given to the defense. The entire docket, contents of the docket, is handed over to the defense so that the defense know exactly what sort of evidence the prosecution has against all the accused persons. But this new evidence thing, the defense must object to some of these things. They must object to some of these things. Hey, if I could find myself in there, I think all hell would break loose. South Africa would see something else. But let me not talk about myself. I'll really, but I'm coming into these things. Slowly but surely I can see myself. I don't know when and how it will happen, but I've got a gut feeling that I've got a calling to be part of this Mayua mess, just to unravel it. There we are. We've been going 1 hour 15 minutes. Maybe people are tired. I don't think we should close the chat. People are tired. Emmanuel Nyembe is back again. I wish you become part of the case advocate. Yes, I would really do my best. Sometimes I've said so much on the Daily Fix, I want people to see me in a real trial. I want to see people they say talk is cheap. I want to get in there and, show people what I can do. I can take up all these things. Sanele says, Mr. Gininda is receiving death threats after that mastermind story. No, I don't want to kill him. They are fighting because Gininda wants to accept the Jojo to make the case go away. The Jojo, yeah, I've heard rumors of Jojo's being paid and stuff like that, but I don't have anything tangible. Stephen Mlungisi Machola says, may it happen, sir, so that we can get the truth out of this case. Yes, you see, the problem with lawyer, let me tell you what how lawyer be. I'm not your typical lawyer. When you meet lawyers, except the lawyers in the Zunzumewa trial, and then I think with the exception of the late Ngomezulu, you see, the first instinct people think is you want to take their job. You want to take their job. That's the first thing that they think. You are here to come and replace them so that you get the money that they are getting. This is what I'm saying. I don't want money. I don't want money. I will drive myself there and come back. I will not charge anybody a cent so that people are at ease. Daphne Simango comes and says, good evening, advocate. H advocate, how can you tell Moses' family that you are available and at no cost? I have told them. Daphne, I've told them. I told myself that no. There comes a time now when I have to act my age. I have told them. I was talking to Muzi Sibia's sister. I still have to talk to the uncle. Good that you bring this issue up. I have told them. I need no send from nobody. So, Mr. Shubaman says Gininda is going to fall hard from grace. I tell you the truth. Yes, people like Gininda have got a price to pay here. Because they are the authors of this mess. They are the authors of this mess. Clearly. We are here because of them. So everybody's still there. Maybe we should. I don't know. Let's call it a day. Raymond is back again and said, do you think what Advocates Ministry is asking enough time from the court is fair or Stalingrad tactics? I think Nisi is the best person to tell us how much time he needs. I don't think this could be Stalingrad, Tactics. Stalingrad created are really just intended to delay what is going on.